I was going through a bit of a dark time. Borderline breakdown, borderline make it or not make it.
Alfredo James Pacino is an American actor. Known for his intense performances on stage and screen, Pacino is regarded as one of the greatest actors ever. His career spans over 5 decades, during which he has earned many accolades in the industry.
Are you tough?
Well, I don't know what that means. I wouldn't. Tough? Do I look tough?
Al Pacino has defined what it means to be a Hollywood legend, but despite his unforgettable performances, despite becoming the face of an entire generation of cinema, the Academy Awards never truly embraced him. Year after year, he was nominated. Year after year, he lost. And for decades, Pacino stayed silent about it.
So this is really a proud and hopeful moment for me because I want to thank the Academy.
But at 78 years old, the man himself finally broke that silence. And what he revealed about the Oscars shocked everyone. The rise of Al Pacino.
It's a powerful thing to have. It's
Anonymity.
It's the ability to be able to blend and relate to people.
After growing up in East Harlem in the Bronx, Pacino moved at age 19 to Greenwich Village, where he studied acting at the Herbert Berghoff Studio and appeared in many off-Broadway and out-of-town productions. He was still a struggling stage actor in New York. Small theaters, tiny paychecks, endless rejections. He was even homeless at one point, crashing wherever he could. But he had something no one could deny, which was raw, magnetic talent. He featured in Hello Out There 1963 and Why's a Crooked Letter 1966. He took further acting lessons from Lee Strasberg and played a small part in the film Me, Natalie in 1969. The same year, he made his Broadway debut and won a Tony Award for his performance in the play Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie?
I find, interestingly enough, how little we use words today.
Pacino's first leading role in a film came with The Panic in Needle Park, a 1971 movie, which was a grim tale of heroin addiction that became something of a cult classic. That talent exploded onto the world stage in 1972 when a young Al Pacino, still virtually unknown, was cast as Michael Corleone in The Godfather. The director who changed his life, Francis Ford Coppola, told him first that he was going to be directing The Godfather. He thought he might be fantasizing. What was he talking about? How did they give him The Godfather?
Yeah, I would go all the way from 91st to the Village and back, 91st and Broadway, and I'd just think about the part.
Then Francis said he wanted Al Pacino to play Michael Corleone. He might have gone too far. He had doubts as to whether he was on the phone at all. Maybe he was the one going through a nervous breakdown. For a director to offer you a role, over the phone, not through an agent or anything, and this role of all roles, that was 100 million to 1 shot. Who was he to have this fall into his lap? When he finally hung up the phone with Francis, he was kind of in a daze.
I chose Al Pacino to play the role of Michael because of really the personal experience of knowing him and spending some time with him.
The role changed his life. The film was an instant classic, and Pacino's chilling transformation from innocent war hero to ruthless mob boss stunned audiences. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars, but he lost. Here's the icing on the cake. Pacino was so unhappy with the category placement, he actually boycotted the ceremony. Because in his eyes, Michael Corleone wasn't a supporting role. He carried the movie. This was the beginning of a not-so-lovely relationship between Pacino and the Academy. The dark days.
She's calling me Michael because she knows me.
Yeah.
She knows me from the film.
When Pacino first appeared in The Godfather in 1972, most people didn't know his name. He wasn't the star, he was the quiet son. But by the film's end, he wasn't just Michael Corleone, he was the Godfather.
Well, it's funny because the first time I did The Godfather, when the film was over, I owed $15,000.
All right.
Yeah.
A year later, Pacino traded the mafia suit for a scruffy beard and long hair to feature in Serpico. Based on a true story, he played Frank Serpico, a cop who risked everything to expose corruption. Then came 1975, Dog Day Afternoon. Pacino played Sonny Wartzik, a desperate man who robbed a bank, not for greed, but to pay for his partner's gender confirmation surgery. The story was shocking, but the performance was unforgettable. He delivered an epic line in the movie. Rallying in the crowd, he yelled, "Attica!" It wasn't just a line. It became a symbol of rebellion, of frustration, of America in the 1970s. Everyone knew the word. And then, The Godfather Part 2 came. If the first film showed Michael's rise, the sequel showed his soul's collapse. He was cold, paranoid, and alone. Pacino delivered one of cinema's most haunting portrayals of power and its cost.
You, as I mentioned, this is your ninth Oscar nomination.
Yes.
With this role, Pacino was able to cement himself as not just a regular actor, but an artist who could make silence more terrifying than any explosion. His silence spoke more words than his actual words. The 1970s were Pacino's decade. He starred in great movies: Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, and Justice for All. Each role was electric. Each performance sent a signal, and each one earned him Oscar nominations.
You know, but nowadays they have the preamble to the Oscars. They
Yes.
have a lot of award shows. So you get used to a kind of thing.
But every single time, Pacino walked away empty-handed. He would sit through the awards, get called on the nominations, but never won an award. He lost to Jack Lemmon, he lost to Art Carney, he lost to Jack Nicholson, and the rest. By the early 80s, Pacino had racked up 5 nominations, yet 0 wins.
But nothing is like the Oscars.
The Oscars is the big one.
It's the big one. So
Hollywood insiders began whispering. Was the Academy deliberately overlooking him? Was Pacino too raw, too unconventional, too dangerous for the polished world of the Oscars?
Should we get some food? Would that help? You, as I mentioned, this is your ninth Oscar nomination.
Yes.
But Pacino's reaction? Priceless. He stayed quiet through it all. He never campaigned, never begged for recognition. He focused only on the work, the wait for victory.
You broke my streak.
By the late 80s, Pacino's career hit a slump, a string of flops, rumors about his intensity. Hollywood started calling him difficult. Then in 1992, Pacino starred in Sin of a Woman, playing a blind, retired Army colonel with a volcanic temper and unforgettable charm. It was the performance of a lifetime. He outdid himself and slipped into character. He was advised by a school for the blind that helped him prepare for his Sin of a Woman role, where he plays a man who's lost sight. By training with the school, Pacino was also able to practice how a person who is blind may do day-to-day tasks, like pouring himself a drink. Through what must have been a combination of intense preparation, he also learned how to properly say "hoo-ah." Along with being able to truly listen to those around him, Pacino developed Slade's character arc, from his initial bitterness and anger to a happier place of acceptance in his new life. And finally, after 7 previous nominations, Pacino won the Oscar for Best Actor.
Al Pacino, The Irishman.
The Oscar goes to Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman.
When the nominees were mentioned, Pacino didn't flinch. He thought it was going to be like every other nomination in the past, where his name would be mentioned several times. Yet he would leave empty-handed. To his greatest surprise, he won an award. But just as they announced my name as the winner, I had a feeling that this time they would finally do it. I threw back my head and let out a sigh. This was my first time in 8 tries that I'd finally time one, having already lost for the 7th time earlier that night, Pacino said. So when I got up on stage, I started my speech with a line that a friend had suggested to me. Unsure of what to say, but he gave a speech anyway. I said, "Well, you broke my streak." That got a laugh, but there was truth in it too. It was a truly powerful moment to see that entire audience stand up and applaud me, and the gratitude I felt was real, wrote Pacino. He stood on that stage holding the golden statue, and the audience cheered and roared. It was long overdue, but here's the thing. Even in victory, Pacino seemed almost detached. Yes, he thanked people. Yes, he smiled. He appreciated the award, but years later, he admitted that moment wasn't what he thought it would be. Winning didn't change him. It didn't heal the wounds of all those losses. The years of sitting and waiting earnestly to hear his name echo from the speakers, into the crowd, yearning to climb up the stage, to receive the award, but it never came, until that yearning slowly died down. It didn't make any difference. He didn't become a better actor because of the award, nor did he change his style. It was just a statue. After thanking co-star Chris O'Donnell and director Marty Brest, Pacino felt a bit lost. He didn't know where to go. He just left the stage with his Oscar award. Rumors and snubs began.
I was going through a bit of a dark time. Borderline breakdown, borderline make it or not make it.
Unfortunately for Pacino, he didn't get to bask in his peers' adoration at the Oscar after-parties. He was due in New York City the very next morning to shoot Carlito's Way. So as soon as he left the Academy Awards ceremony, he got into a car and went to the airport and flew via private jet to New York City. None of the afterglow that I expected, but I was on this big plane by myself, Just me and my Oscar. And I could handle the solitude, he recalled.
I had like 5 films, 5 Oscar nominations. I blew out with The Godfather. I didn't know what was happening to me, drinking and doing.
After 1993, Pacino continued to deliver incredible performances. From Carlito's Way, Two Bits, Heat, City Hall, Donnie Brasco, and The Insider, just to mention a few. But the Oscars? They never won another. As time went by, Pacino refused to talk publicly about the snubs. He didn't criticize the Academy. He didn't lash out. He stayed silent. But fans noticed something. Pacino rarely even attended the ceremonies. The whispers grew louder. Did Pacino secretly resent the Oscars? Did he believe they never truly respected him? Or did he withdraw from Hollywood events? Al Pacino finally opens up at 78.
They told me, you're nominated for an Oscar, and it was shocking, but at the same time, it did lift my spirits.
With the rumors flying around social media, Al Pacino didn't say anything. He didn't refute them, nor did he concur with them. Then, at 78 years old, Al Pacino finally addressed it. In an interview, he spoke candidly about his feelings toward the Academy Awards. And what he said came as a surprise to everyone. Pacino admitted that for years, the Oscars bothered him. He was young, ambitious, hungry for recognition. He wanted to be rewarded for his hard work, and he thought everything would go as he had planned. But every single nomination he lost felt like a rejection, not just of his work, but of himself.
That with this particular character, as I say, I got a sense of his tragic flaw.
But as he got older, he realized something. The Oscar was not the prize. It was barely a symbol of recognition, and not in every aspect, because he expected to win an Oscar for The Godfather, but didn't. He realized that the work was the prize. He explained that acting was about truth, taking a human soul in a moment and becoming that person. Delivering a performance that touched people, that lived forever on screen, was more valuable than any trophy. And then he dropped the line that shook fans worldwide. The Oscar is a wonderful honor, but it's not why I do this. The work itself is the reward. For a moment, people thought he said it because he couldn't win another Oscar, but he really meant it.
And Al Pacino in The Godfather. And the winner is
Joel Grey in Cabaret.
Addressing the issue, the Oscar winner Al Pacino has revealed he was scared to attend the Academy Awards on some occasions when he was nominated. Because he didn't show up to a couple of the Oscars, he got a reputation because they thought he was jealous. They said to my representative, "Oh, Pacino is not going because he's not the leading actor. He's a supporting actor for the Oscar." Can you imagine me saying that? I don't want to go because I should be up there with Marlon Brando. It's just not in my nature. It's nowhere near it. And I knew that I didn't want to go because it scared me, frankly. I was working in Boston in the theater and I was afraid. Pacino told O'Leary. In 1973, Pacino famously missed the 45th Academy Awards, despite receiving a Best Supporting Actor nomination for his role as Michael Corleone in The Godfather. Without waiting for Pacino to give reasons why he couldn't attend, the Hollywood rumor mill has claimed Pacino refused to attend the awards ceremony because he believed he should have received a Best Actor nomination like his co-star Marlon Brando. He was perplexed at what people thought of him. He decided to clear the air, stating that he felt out of place a few times because he was very famous and didn't even know it. Already, he began developing these feelings of being left out, even before the Oscar award. And I remember I actually won the award, some great award, and I was in Boston doing a play, and I was staying over at the director's house. He gave me a room at his house. And I remember waking up and he said, "You won the National Board Review Award for acting on The Godfather." And I remember saying to him, "Wow, sure, that's cool. Do you have a psychiatrist I can see?" Right out of my mouth because that's the state I was in, Pacino said. That's how indifferent Al Pacino already felt towards the awards at the time. But he has revealed in an interview on BBC Radio 2 with British-Irish presenter Dermot O'Leary that he didn't show up at the Oscars in 1973 due to his complicated relationship with his fame. While it might be hard to believe, that is what it was. Describing his fear, Pacino explained that it was a strange feeling, as it didn't let him function properly. He experienced it a few times while he was out, and he had no other option but to stay back from the awards, to avoid misinterpretation. But yes, his action was still misinterpreted. Everyone in the industry had the perception that he snubbed the Oscars because I wasn't given the leading man. But that was not the whole story. Pacino's words were heavy and felt because he was not alone. There are several other legends in Hollywood who gave unforgettable performances, yet were not awarded an Oscar. Stars like Glenn Close, Amy Adams, Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp. Martin Scorsese, an outstanding figure in Hollywood, had to wait decades before he was recognized, so it wasn't a symbol to measure how good an actor was. The sad truth is, the Academy has always been political, Campaigns, popularity, timing, and connections often matter more than pure talent. Because if it were just talent, then Al Pacino wouldn't have waited so long. Addressing the issue put everything into perspective and helped the rumors die down in order to make people see things for what it was. For real artists, the work outlives the award. Several years later, people might not remember who won which award, but they certainly would remember the iconic characters that played certain roles in outstanding movies. Everyone would remember Al Pacino screaming, "Attica, Attica," in Dog Day Afternoon.
Are you tough? Well, I don't know what that means. I wouldn't. Tough? Do I look tough?
Today, Al Pacino is celebrated not just as an Oscar winner, but as one of the greatest actors who ever lived. One of the actors who changed the history of Hollywood, who persevered and stood firm, even in the face of challenges. The roles he played in movies and the characters he became, just to give the movie an unforgettable experience. Michael Corleone, Tony Montana, Frank Slade, are all etched into cinematic history and cannot be forgotten in haste. And when Pacino finally spoke up at 78, it wasn't with bitterness. He didn't lash those who said terrible things about him, nor did he call them out. It was with peace. He was ready to clear the rumors and embrace openness and collaborations. He taught us that an award can't define a career. With or without an award, an actor who delivers his roles to the very best would still be recognized as an iconic personality. An award can come in, but it is never the yardstick for measuring one's career. A golden statue can gather dust, but art lives forever, in the industry as well as in the hearts. To Pacino, success isn't about trophies. Neither is it about how often your name is called in the industry. It's about passion, legacy, and about the impact your actions leave on the world. How long would you be remembered, even when you're no more, or when you retire? And when it comes to creating an impact, Al Pacino has already won more than any award could ever give. The work itself was his reward, and maybe that is the real Oscar. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.